Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about what happens after you graduate BMT and you're moving on to tech school. The first week of tech school is called in-processing, so after the Sunday night of graduation weekend, when you get back from spending time with your family and friends, you're going to come back, pack everything up, say your goodbyes. So based on your job, you might know a group of people in your flight that are going to the same tech school as you. So depending on what tech school you're going to, that will decide what time you're leaving the actual dorms. So you'll be packed and ready to go Sunday night, and then there will be a sheet posted in the day room saying which time everyone's leaving for which tech school. So everyone leaves at random times throughout the night. It might be something crazy like 1 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. So you're probably not gonna get much sleep Sunday night. Everyone's gonna be like packing and up late, saying goodbyes, hanging out with everybody. When you do leave for tech school, you're going to have your big green duffel bag, the backpack they issued you, obviously everything they issued you as far as uniforms and PT gear, stuff like that. And then you'll also have your civilian luggage that you came with. This is why people tell you to pack light and not to overpack or bring like a large suitcase or anything like that, because everything you're carrying is going to be very heavy. So depending on how far your tech school is, you might be taking a bus there or you might be flying there. So you're going to have a lot of stuff to carry with you. So this is exactly why people tell you do not overpack for BMT. Try not to bring a big suitcase or anything like that. It's very unnecessary, especially because when you get to most tech schools, you're not allowed to wear civilian clothes right away anyway. Okay, so this is going to be my experience of in-processing at tech school. My first week there, the first 5 days, Monday through Friday, we did in-process, and it's probably going to differ job to job, base to base, or squadron to squadron. And no, I'm not going to be giving away all that information because OPSEC. So I don't know how similar this will be to other bases and other squadrons, but I hope it's helpful for those of you who are wondering what comes next after BMT graduation weekend. All right, so Monday morning when we got there, when we got off the bus on base, we pulled up to the dorms and there were MTLs there. So you don't have MTIs anymore, which are military training instructors. You now have MTLs, which are military training leaders. The MTL that met us there and told us to get off the bus, he was screaming at us and telling us to hurry up, to get all the bags unpacked like at the bottom of the bus. He was like, I don't care if they're not yours, just get them off, just do it as fast as you can. And you know, he was just screaming at us like we were at BMT all over again, and I was like, great, here we go again. But that's really not the case as far as my tech school went. I think they do that when you first get there just to set a standard, just to let you know like, hey, this is not gonna be as strict as BMT, but you also don't have all your freedoms back yet, you're gonna have to earn them. So we got off the bus, we got all the luggage unpacked, and then we all went to the briefing room. And this is where we pretty much spent our entire in-processing week. So we met all the MTLs, we sat through a lot of briefings, they just gave us a lot of information. So I did keep my in-processing schedule. You guys know I try to retain all the information I can to share with you guys. So I still have my in-processing schedule, so I'll kind of go through Monday through Friday and let you guys know what we did for our in-processing week. So Monday is exhausting because you haven't slept all night. You've probably been traveling by bus or by plane, and now it's 07:45, we had to start our briefings. So we were pretty much up all night and all day on Monday. So from 07:45 to 11 o'clock, we just had MTL in processing procedures and briefings, it said. So from 11 to 12, we got to go to lunch at the DFAC, and obviously this is a new base and we have no idea what we're doing or where we're going. So they did have airman leaders escort us or march us. We still had to march when we got to tech school. So they did have airman leaders, like the ones with the ropes, whether it was like a green rope, a yellow rope, or a red rope. They did escort us to the DFAC and to all the appointments and briefings we had to be at throughout the week. So that was nice because I would have had no idea where to go. So then after lunch, we did go back to the briefing room and we had a lot more briefings until 16:15. And then we were released to go to the BX because we had to get stuff like sheets and pillows and anything we needed for our dorm rooms, like toilet paper, paper towels, whatever we needed, cleaning supplies. So they did also take us to the BX and just drop us off there. They just showed us where it was, and then we got everything we needed, and then we had to march back with everything we bought. So you'll literally see people like marching with laundry baskets and everything. So after we did the BX stop, you have the rest of the evening to yourself. So we had time to unpack, settle in, take everything in, sleep, and then Tuesday morning started a lot earlier. It was 05:30, and we met all together in the briefing room, and then they marched us to breakfast. So we all went to the DFAC for breakfast, and then it says mass in-processing briefing. So just a lot more information you needed to know about the base, about your job, about the rules. For my tech school, we did have 3 phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. I don't know if all tech schools have this, and also the length of time in those phases or the requirements might be different depending on how long your tech school is. I'll go over the phases after I go through like the gist of our week. But Tuesday, nothing really special happened. It was just a lot more briefings, and we did still get an hour for lunch, which was really nice because, you know, in BMT you have like a whole 7 minutes to eat. So it's really, really nice to have that break, to have that lunch, and you get to talk to people and you get to eat whatever you want as much as you want. You just get to hang out and relax and feel like a human being again. Wednesday was about the same as Tuesday. We started almost at the same time. It says 05:45, and we did the whole thing where we marched to breakfast again. We went to the DFAC, and then we were marched wherever we needed to go. So we had like SARC briefings, we had safety, finance, stuff like that. So just a lot more boring information, and you're gonna feel like falling asleep, but it's fine. And then on Wednesday, we also got out at 4 o'clock as well. So one thing I do want to point out is that we did not have PT during this week. So during in-processing, we did not have like squadron PT or anything like that. Thursday was a shorter day for us. We didn't have to meet till 07, and then it was still kind of the same schedule though, like meet in the briefing room, march to breakfast, more briefings. Thursday we met our flight chief, so the MTL flight chief came in and gave a briefing. And then this day we also got out pretty early. We got out at 13:30, so Thursday was probably a really nice day. Friday was a little bit of a shorter day too. We started at 06:30 and then we got out at 13:45. So on Friday we had more of like a base tour, so they showed us different places we could go, like where all the buildings were, like places we could go and hang out and things like that on base, because in phase 1, unfortunately, you are not allowed to leave base. So there are some places you can hang out, play games, watch movies. So that's pretty much it for my in-processing week. I did get to catch up on some sleep. I didn't have to do PT, and we just had to sit through a lot of briefings, hours and hours of briefings. All right, so for our phase guidelines, like I said, we had phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So in phase 1, for us, that was the first 30 days. And in those 30 days, you can wear civilian clothes in your room, but you can't leave your room in civilian clothes, and you're not allowed to go off base. So there are a lot of rules for being in phase 1, but it's also not nearly as strict as BMT. You're also not allowed to drive your car, or any car, any POV. So you're not allowed to use or have alcohol or tobacco. During the duty week, we still had to march everywhere we went. So if you wanted to go to the BX or the post office, you still had to have a wingman, you had to be in uniform, and you had to march there. So on the weekends, you still had to be in uniform, but at least you could go places by yourself and not have to drag someone along with you. Something they were pretty strict about was you're not allowed to wear headphones or talk on the phone while you're walking or marching. So that was something that we had to watch out for in phase 1, especially while you're on the troop walk. Our curfew in phase 1 was 2200 to 03. So at that time, you have to be in your room, not even just inside the dorm, but actually in your room. We had mandatory items. So you had to have your phase card saying which phase you were in, so they knew if you were allowed to be in civilian clothes or not. Other mandatory items were like our sapper card, I believe, and then our room key, obviously, our CAC, things like that. Oh, 341s, obviously, you still have 341s in tech school. So the first requirement to phase up from phase 1 is that you have to be there for 30 days. And then there's a couple other requirements. You have to pass an ABU open ranks and service dress uniform open ranks, so your blues with your service coat. They're very easy to pass. So for us, our airman leaders did them, and they don't look that closely. It's just if you look like you have your uniform together for the most part, they're just gonna look at you up and down really quick and move on to the next one. So it's not like super in depth. They're not gonna check you for strings and lint and things like that. As long as you look put together and like you tried, then you're gonna pass those. And then the other requirement for phasing up to phase 2, we had to pass 2 consecutive room inspections, which is also easy as long as you keep your room clean. Like, there are people who did fail their room inspections for things like security violations. Like if you leave your dog tags out, if you're not in the room and your wall locker's unlocked, that's a security violation, you're gonna fail. I mean, I never failed a room inspection. I'm a very clean person though, and luckily I never had messy roommates, so I never failed a room inspection. There were instances where one person could fail the room inspection or the whole room could fail. So that's how to get out of phase 1, and once we phased up to phase 2, we had a lot more freedom. So we could wear civilian clothes outside of our room. Our curfew got a little bit later, so it was midnight on the weekends, and then it was also midnight during the week. We just had to be inside the dorm building at 10 o'clock. But there are some things that stay the same too. Like, you still have to continuously pass your room inspections. They're just not as frequent. You still have to have your mandatory items on you. So it's really not hard to phase up as long as you do what you're supposed to do what you're told. Everyone pretty much phases up on time. As for phase 3, it is like an above and beyond extra type of thing. Like, you have to do volunteer hours, you have to do an extra PT test and get above a certain score. You have to be there for a very long time, like 3 or 4 months into my tech school, and then you could apply for phase 3. But there were a couple benefits to phase 3 that you don't have in phase 2, like you have no curfew at all. That was like the main reason that people wanted to go phase 3, but I personally didn't see a lot of people actually get phase 3. I didn't mind having a curfew. I usually went to bed pretty early, and because of the 4392s on the weekend, I didn't really feel like I needed to phase up to phase 3, and also I did not feel like moving my stuff to a different room just for like the last month or two. So that's pretty much it for my first week of tech school as far as in processing and the different phases we were allowed to go through. So if I forgot anything, or if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, or you can always message me on Instagram at Brittany L. Willis, and I try to respond to every single one of you and be as helpful as I can, because I know when I went through all this, I was always researching how it was gonna go, what it was gonna be like. I just like to know what to expect. So I hope this was helpful to those of you who are just curious about the process or who are recently going to be going through the process. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.